Rohan was the kind of person who never left a message hanging. No matter how busy his day got or what he was doing, his phone was in his hand, and his default state was to reply immediately. Early on, that rapid-fire availability paid off. He matched with someone new, and the conversation flowed effortlessly. They traded daily updates, shared inside jokes, and stayed up late texting. The rhythm felt natural. This timeline graph maps out their typical conversation rhythm, a rapid, symmetrical ping-ponging back and forth. But then, she took a few extra minutes to reply. It wasn't a massive delay, but for Rohan, it broke the established pattern. That tiny shift in behavior stripped away the illusion of a perfect dynamic. When a digital connection relies entirely on immediate, constant gratification, the slightest pause reveals exactly how fragile it actually is. Rohan started obsessively checking his screen. His comfort dissolved into anxiety. He scrolled up through the chat log, reviewing everything he recently typed, wondering if he had crossed a line or if she was suddenly losing interest. It is an odd psychological quirk. Why does staring at a blinking cursor or a delayed text notification possess the power to hijack our emotional stability and make us question our own value? This cyclical flowchart illustrates the dopamine-seeking loop that drives our texting habits. A delayed response is rarely a reflection of your personal worth. It is simply a missed dopamine hit. The intervention begins by identifying the digital illusion at this specific point. To utilize that intervention point, you must physically step away from the device. Breaking the immediate neurological craving for a reply is the necessary prerequisite for reclaiming your emotional control. Instead of walking away, Rohan entered a spiral. He assumed the delay meant a fracture in the relationship, so he decided to work overtime to fix a problem that didn't actually exist. The moment her late reply finally came through, he answered within seconds. He started double texting to fill any silence. He over-explained casual jokes and went out of his way to prove he was always available to talk. This diagram demonstrates the pull-pull dynamic. When one person aggressively forces intimacy, a theoretical force field pushes the other party backward. The secondary node repels the pressure. The consequences showed up immediately. Her messages became notably shorter. The excitement faded, widening the conversational gap. Smothering a digital conversation with an anxious need for connection triggers a retreat from the other person. The harder you grip the interaction, the faster the intimacy degrades. When a conversation naturally stalls, you have to resist the urge to jump in and rescue the silence. Allowing the pause to breathe is critical. Late one night, Rohan's screen lit up with her name. He looked at the notification, took a bath, and for the very first time, he chose not to type back instantly. Rohan's silence had nothing to do with manipulative dating tactics. He was simply exhausted by the overthinking and the endless mental pacing of the chase. He finally let go. By dropping the mental tug-of-war and ending his pursuit, he allowed the interaction to sit entirely unresolved. Surrendering the neurotic need to steer and control every digital interaction is exactly when true personal agency begins. A few hours went by. Deprived of the constant instant validation she was used to, she texted him again. This time, the effort returned to her messages, accompanied by a renewed sense of interest. This line graph plots constant availability against perceived value, illustrating the economy of availability. It reveals a stark inverse correlation. People fail to respect attention that is handed to them unconditionally. As availability peaks, value drops. Introducing a natural degree of distance didn't sever Rohan's connection. Instead, the silence cleared the air and provided the essential breathing room required for curiosity to grow back. Perceived value in any digital relationship relies on the presence of personal boundaries. It is never built on a hyper-vigilant digital presence. Moving forward, Rohan didn't become cold or aloof. He found his balance. He started replying when he genuinely had the time and the desire to do so, rather than answering out of sheer panic. Shifting your validation inward is necessary. Detach your self-worth from the specific minute someone else decides to tap their glass screen. Choosing to engage digitally only when you intrinsically want to restores a healthy equilibrium. It protects your mental health and sets a sustainable pace for your relationships. In a hyper-connected era that demands instant availability, Reclaiming your self-worth starts with recognizing that sometimes the most powerful reply is a deliberate, peaceful pause.